When we parented our swing to its controls, the armature, that object was moved within the hierarchy over here in the outliner. So you can see now if we roll out the armature, our swing is now underneath the armature object. Now, if I select the frame and I move it around, we leave behind our swing object, but we'd like that to follow along. So what we can do is we can actually parent our armature object to our frame. So to do that, we first select our armature, we can shift select our frame, and then we can right click, go to our parent menu, and in this case we want to parent object. When we do that, you can see this little dotted line has been created. And that simply shows that there's a relationship between these two objects. So now, if you have a look in the outliner, underneath our frame, we have our armature, and under that we have our swing. And if I select my frame object and I move it around, you can see that the swing now goes with it. Obviously, we're leaving our little bird character behind, and we want that to follow along with the swing as well. Now, if I were to select that bird, you might think we could parent it to our swing. But if we try doing that, and I parent the object, if I select my frame and move it around, then the bird will move along with it. But if I select these bones, and if I go into pose mode and start rotating them, then our bird will not follow along with the swing. So we need to attach it in a different way. So I'm just going to undo all of that so that our bird is no longer parented to the swing. There we are. And now instead, I'm going to select my bird and I'm going to parent it to this armature. I'm going to right click, parent, and I'm actually going to parent it to the bone rather than to the armature itself. This will mean that it follows along with the bone, but it's not being deformed by it in the way that the swing is. We can now select our bird, and if we go over to the properties panel, click on the object properties and go to relations, we can now see that its parent is the armature, and within that it's parented to the bone object bone. And what we need is for it to be connected to bone 1. If I select bone 1, you can see it jumps away, which is not what we want. So if I undo that, we need to disconnect this from the armature, which we can do by right clicking, and then under the parent menu we can go down to clear parent and keep transformation. And that will leave it where it is, and it has removed that parent relationship. So what we need to remember to do when we connect an object to a specific bone is we need to select the object, select the armature, and then we need to change from object mode to pose mode. And now we need to select the specific bone within this chain that we want to parent to. So I'm going to go into X-ray mode so that I can select this bottom bone in the chain. I'm just going to hit W to go back to selection mode so that we don't have the distraction of that gizmo over the top. Now that our bird and the correct bone is selected, go back to object mode, right click, and we can go to parent bone. Now if we select that bird, you can see that now our parent bone is bone 1 and our bird is in the correct place. So if I select the armature again, I go into pose mode. You can see as I now rotate these bones, our swing is deforming and our bird is following along with it, which is exactly what we want. I'm going to go back to object mode and save my scene.